Okay.
You have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play it better than anyone else. Albert Einstein.
Hello, this is Cece with Going Solo, and you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Today we're going to be featuring both the Going Solo with Cece and the Author's Corner, Meet the Author. And we have with us today, we have George Santino, and he has this terrific book. It's called Get Back Up. And George, you and I have known each other for quite some time. We actually went to high school together.
Yes.
And you went to a different school, and we shared the school, so it was kind of a very unique circumstances. But we did get to know a little bit about each other as we're passing, with our education there. But you have moved on, and you've really, through this book, we can really see your life and how it was for you. But you have now, you are an entertainer, so you're in your passion of the arts, so you're doing a terrific job with that. You are retired from Microsoft. And so your life has taken a great deal of twists and turns. So tell us a little bit about your journey, and how did you get into, becoming an author, wanting to write this fantastic book that you've written?
Well, my life has been filled with ups and downs, not unlike a lot of people's lives. But some of the challenges were a lot harder, and took a lot more work to overcome. I was born in the projects of South Philadelphia, extremely poor on welfare, on surplus food before there was food stamps, and my life started under difficult circumstances. I learned at a very early age that you had to work hard, you had to be willing to get out there and do things to try to change your circumstance in life. And as I grew up, and as I faced more and more obstacles, whether it was getting hurt in the Army and discharged after just one day in basic training, or crashing my car driving home from Newport Richey to Tampa after a late shift at Wendy's, or hurting my back so bad that it required multiple back operations and eventual diagnosis of failed back syndrome. These are all the things that I faced. And each time I had to find a way to, quote the book, get back up. And it actually was when I was driving back and forth with my daughter, and during our long road trip, she would ask me to tell her stories, and I would tell her stories about how I grew up and the obstacles I faced and that kind of thing. And she was the one that said, these stories are very motivational, very inspirational. Have you ever thought of writing a book? And the answer was no, I never thought of writing a book. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought that this could actually help other people, especially around the time I was writing. It was during the political scene, and all these politicians were out there telling us about how the American dream was dead, how, you can't achieve the things you want to achieve in life anymore, unless, of course, you vote for them, but, and I just knew that wasn't true. I knew that if you were willing to put in the effort and work hard, you could overcome any obstacle that you face and still achieve the dreams you wanted for you and your family. So after a while, I was just compelled to write this thing and to get that story out there.
Yeah, it is. It's so touching. It's so real. You share bits and pieces of your own personal experiences that, are pretty raw. It's really down deep. And so I do want the listeners to think about that, because I think it's very important that when someone shares their true self, their authentic self, and shows, what they've gone through and where they've come from, where your journey and how you were able to get back up again. And so I think that the title of the book suits the story itself. And I just think that for our platform, it is such a moving, inspirational book in which to read. So I want to thank you so much for bringing it forward and digging deep, because I know that a lot of these stories, because they are so personal and so touching, they had to be hard to write about.
Well, I didn't know that it was going to be hard until I started writing it and reliving some of these events in my life. And it took a few years to write it because I would write the story and then I'd have to deal with the emotion of it. And I found myself taking stuff out because it was too painful, but I realized now I'm cheating the reader. I have to go back and be willing to basically expose myself in that way and say, these are the things that happened. These are the things I faced. And, you know, we've heard a lot of rags to riches stories, and people tend to push back on them and say, well, you know, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or you got lucky, or this happened or that happened. And I really wanted to make the point that there was no luck involved at all. There were many, many challenges, very many obstacles. And every time I thought I was up, I got knocked right back down again. And you have to be willing to learn from those experiences and push back. And what was interesting to me is that as I look back on some of those stories, that as they were occurring, that was the worst thing that had ever happened in my life at that time, and it was extremely depressing. But when I look back on it now, I realize that had that not occurred, I might not be where I am today. So some of those things that were miserable at the time were necessary. You don't know that then. It's very, very painful then. But when you look back, you say that was just part of the path to ultimately where I ended up. And had that not happened, who knows where I would have been. So you look back and say it was miserable at the time, but luckily it happened.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because so often it's the challenges that we have in life that really shape who we are. And so for you, you know, knowing you as I do and how you've been able to move through your life, not knowing all of what you've experienced, you know, as a younger guy, not understanding all of that as we were going through high school and things like that together. But you know, you have come out of this such a developed person, because, you know, you've gone to high plateaus, you know, you've had really great opportunities in your life, but it hasn't changed the core of who you are, which is a truly nice guy. You know, so I mean, I think that's a huge compliment, because so often we see the ones that have had not that many struggles in life, and they are very displeasant people, you know, as they've gotten to the top of their career. Now you're kind of like plateaued out a little bit. You're enjoying life a little bit, but you're still that sweet guy. You know, you're still that great guy. Yeah, you lend a hand to other people. You know, you're very helpful. You're easygoing about things. And so I think that a lot of listeners out there can take that away and understand that the struggles that they're experiencing, how they're redefining and restructuring their lives now, they can take a chapter or two from your book, you know, for sure.
You know, I think it's very, very important to find ways to give back, to find ways to help people. I mean, there were people who took chances on me, you know, when I was growing up and I was trying certain things. And had those people not appeared in my life when they did, things could have been very, very different. And I think that, you know, we're basically, I'll get philosophical for a moment. We're on this earth for such a very short period of time. And, you know, and you can't just show up and then leave and have it not matter that you were here. You know, you have to find a way to make a difference, to give back, to help other people see that there are opportunities out there, even during like I said, the worst times, the darkest times, to say, look, I know that this sucks right now, but if you're willing to put in the effort, if you're willing to learn from the experience and continue to work hard, there's nothing you can't achieve. I mean, I grew up in the projects of South Philadelphia, very, very poor. I retired at the age of 55 as a partner at Microsoft. And along the way, I got knocked on my butt over and over and over again. And every one of those was an opportunity to give up. Every one was an opportunity to say, that's it. It's too hard. It's not worth it. But then what's the alternative? I mean, you just give up and that's it. Your life is over. You know, it's just not worth it. You have to find a way to pull yourself up. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be depressed for a little while. But at some point, you got to snap out of it and you got to get back up and get out there and take control of your own destiny. No one else is going to do it for you but you. So take that control and forge ahead. I mean, to me, there's no other choice.
Absolutely. I like too what you said about friends. Like you met some friends along the way. There were people along the way. Oh, I hear your dog.
Oh, somebody rung the doorbell. Of course, I don't have any visitors here ever.
So we know this is real life.
So this is live. It's real life. Someone's at the door, so the dog's going to bark.
As long as they're not bringing big bags to carry.
That's right.
Anyhow. But one thing I noticed that you did say, which I thought was very important for us to capture, is that there were people along your way, along your journey, that did encourage you, that did help you, and you kind of grabbed a hold of some of those, and you made it worth it, and I think that's important to know that there are good people out there that are willing to help those that need a helping hand, and to encourage those.
No, I think that's absolutely right. There are people that are willing to take a chance on you, but you have to make your case. When I got the job at Microsoft turned me down 4 times, right? Because they had this set of rules that they follow. You don't have a college degree, we don't talk to you, period. Well, that's another opportunity to give up. Or it's an opportunity to get on the phone and call people and try to find out why they said no. And if you engage, if you have that conversation, that gives you an opportunity to help people help you, right? So, by calling and telling you didn't hire me because I have a college degree, I could remind them that Bill Gates didn't have a college degree and he seemed to be doing okay, but you start that dialogue, you start that discussion, and you give people an opportunity to see that you're worth helping, that there can be this win-win situation if people engage. And I think that people at their core really do want to help. Sometimes they have to be given a reason. Sometimes they have to be helped to overcome, the obstacles that they're placing in their own way because of their preconceived notions or their sets of rules they have to follow. And I just think you have to have that conversation and be willing to engage with people and continue to overcome the objections and to answer people's questions, so that sometimes you can get the chance. Sometimes it takes 4 interviews at Microsoft to ultimately get a job, but in the end it's worth it. Just don't quit.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge thing for you, is you never did quit. You never took no for an answer. You just got through it. And whatever the situation was that was in your life, you just wasn't going to let it get you down. And so, I mean, it's pretty awesome, coming now here on the other side, looking back. I'm sure it's awesome now. And as you're traveling through with the muckety muck, it's a little bit different. I know, I get that, but yeah. So I love your book, and we'll hold it up here. So if anyone wants to see
there it is.
Yeah, book. And so I have it. I have my copy, and so you guys need to go out and get your copy too. So I think it's a great book to read. I tell you what, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk a little bit about your entertainment career.
Oh, that's another fun one.
Yeah, and what you're doing in life right now, and make sure that everybody has all your contact information. So when we come back, this is Cece with Going Solo. You are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and we'll be right back. Listen, everyone, I want to thank you so much for listening to WGSN-DB. We are the singles internet talk station. We do focus on really every aspect of your life. So we have both shows that are consistent of divorce recovery, relationship loss, transition to dating, dating itself. We have business showcase. We have this terrific author's corner, which we're doing tonight. And, we really cover products, services, anything that is going to affect the singles life. So that's what we're here about, and that's WGSN-DB. So we're going to bring it right back. This is Cece with Going Solo, and we are showcasing tonight the Author's Corner, Meet the Author, and we have George Santino, and it's George A. Santino, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we were featuring his book. He's got this brand new book here, and it's called Get Back Up. So I want you guys to see it. It's a fabulous book, talks about his journey through, some of the really difficult times in his life, and really to the other side. And so we talked about that the first part of the show. So welcome back, George.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great having you. And, you're just such an inspiration. I wanted to share with the audience some of your other talents, and you are a terrific entertainer.
Well, you remember back at Lato High School, I was always in the choir. I was always up there on stage during assemblies, doing my solos and that sort of thing. And when I graduated from high school, I actually tried to start a career as a professional singer. I went to Busch Gardens, I went to Disney World, I went to some of the hotels. As you know, that's, the Bay Area down there is a very touristy area. And I thought people would love to hear an old Sinatra-style singer. Much to my surprise, I guess, there's lots of people who can sing, and there's a lot of them in Florida who can sing. And I found that was a very hard way to try to make a living. And after a while, I realized that though I loved singing, I loved eating just as much, and I decided I better get a job so I could buy some food rather than singing. And I decided that someday I would come back to that. I was going to be a singer at some point. Now, I had no idea that someday would be almost 40 years later after I retired from Microsoft. But I decided that I wanted to get back out there, and I wanted to do some singing. And so I decided that I was going to record a song, basically for my mother, who still lives in Tampa, and send it to her. So not doing anything halfway. I hired a producer, I hired backup singers, I hired instrumentalists to do all the music for me, and I recorded the Sinatra song, That's Life. And after I did it, my producer said, well, since it's done, why don't you put it on Amazon and see if anybody buys it? And I said, well, no one's going to buy it. It's just me singing a song. And so we put it out there. It doesn't cost you anything. And much to my surprise, it was the #1 hot new release for swing jazz on Amazon. And I said, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I started getting all this press. People are saying, oh, George A. Santino leaves the rat race to join the rat pack. And so I was getting this press, and my producer said, well, you should do a whole album. And, I said, okay, you're just trying to make some money here, or you really think this will do well? And he said, both, right? I appreciate his candor. And so we did the whole Come Fly With Me CD and put it out there, and it sold well, much to my surprise. And I found that it was a tremendous amount of fun. I think it was a lot more fun because I didn't really have to earn a living doing it, right? I could just do it for the fun. And we started getting calls to do live performances, to start doing gigs around the Seattle area, including the Seattle Center 50th anniversary bash, wanted me to come there and sing in front of the Key Arena, which I had to hire a whole band, a whole combo to do that. And that was just a tremendous amount of fun. And then I wanted to do a Christmas album, and my producer said, why don't you write a Christmas song? And I said, because I don't know how to write songs. And he said, well, no, just write a story about Christmas and, just capture it in writing and make sure it rhymes because it's a song. And so I wrote this song, The Magic of Christmas, and we actually produced a music video for it, put that on YouTube, has over 225,000 views in 109 different countries, which was just shocking. And so over the first few years of my retirement, and my wife keeps reminding me, you're supposed to be retiring, you're always working, we've released 3 albums. I've written 6 songs. The albums are doing well on Amazon. It's part of the reason why the book took so long to write, because I kept doing music, and I had to say I need to stop that for a while to get this book written. But it was just a tremendous amount of fun, and really took me back to my days at Pierce Junior High. Webb before that, I went to Webb, but then they moved the line just like
I went to Webb too. I went to Webb.
They moved the line, so I had to go to Pierce in 9th grade, and sang in their choir, and then certainly at Lato. And it really took me back to those carefree days, when we were in high school and able to just enjoy being a kid. And I kind of was reliving that at the age of 55. I was a kid again, up on stage doing my solo. It was just so rewarding. It was unbelievable.
That is so great. We have it on the site too. If anybody just goes to our WGSN-DB Going Solo Network site, we have it. We have it right there. And also the link to buy the book is there. So you can just click on it and buy the book. It's a Get Back Up. So we definitely want you to do that. His album, one of his albums is listed there. Of course, I'm sure you can find the other ones too. But it's, it's such a joy to have you, come from such a hard life, hard journey of life itself. And, everybody, I think if you ask anybody, they're going to tell you, they have struggles too. But to know that on the other side of it, with a lot of hard work, just determination, you can get to the other side of it and you can get back up. And now, like you, living a dream life for you because you're doing what you want to do, No,
it has been a heck of a lot of fun. And it's not without pain. It isn't without struggles. My back is still bad. I had a 4-level fusion that bothers me to this day. Every morning when I wake up, I got to get out of bed and get on the floor and do a bunch of stretching so that I can walk the rest of the day. And it isn't without pain, but frankly, that's tough. That's the hand that's been dealt. I remember going to a doctor once and he did all these x-rays to look at all the problems that I still have with my back. And he said, "I'm surprised you're not in the corner crying. You got to be in pain." And I said, "Would that help?" And he said, "Well, no." And I said, "Then what's the point?" You play the hand that's dealt. I have a bad back. I'm never going to play tennis again, though I loved doing it back in high school. There's a lot of things I'm not going to be able to do. But that's just, like I said, that's the hand that's been dealt. You find a way to work around some of your obstacles. Some of them you can blow right through. Some of them are always going to be with you. And you just accept that that's your crutch in life, your challenge in life. And you continue to forge ahead because, like I said earlier, I don't see that you have any choice.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a brilliant man. You're kind, giving, and you're talented. You're just really a talented guy, and it's so great that you're sharing your ability to write, of the arts, you're entertaining. You're also doing some public speaking.
Yes.
Been doing that more lately?
Yeah, I want to get out there and basically tell that story. Obviously I want people to buy the book more because I think it's an important message to get out there. Certainly not about selling books and making money off the book. In fact, a lot of times when I go and speak, depending on who I'm speaking to, I'll just give them some books just so they have it. But I want to get out there and tell people that no matter what life throws your way, no matter what the obstacles, no matter what the challenges, it's still within your power to change your circumstance, to make things better. It's not easy. And I'm not telling people it's easy. It's not you go buy a lottery ticket and win the lottery. That'd be nice, but that's not typically how it works. It typically starts, a lot of times at the very bottom, and you have to work your way through the system. I tell kids all the time when I talk to them, I say, if you get a job, the first thing you have to do is figure out what your company values, what they reward, and start to do those things and start to do things better than anybody else. If you don't like making a minimum wage, you have to find ways. How can I get raises? How can I get promotions? How can I move up? And start to do those things. Somebody at every company is getting a raise today, is getting a promotion today. Why not you? That's within your power. Go out there and make it happen. And I just want to get out there and tell that story. When people say, it's not easy, I can sit back and I can stand there and tell them, I know for a fact it's not easy. Few people know as well as I do. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think I think it'd be great to have you on, as a speaker. I think that if anyone's listening out there that they're interested in having you come and speak, I hope that they will reach out to you and, run it by you. And I'm sure that you'll, get it into your schedule. But I think your message is wonderful. I love the book itself. Again, it's Get Back Up, everyone, please. It's an inspirational book. You need some, inspiration. You will get it after you read this book, that you'll think, you know what, my life is not so bad, and I can get through it. If he did it, I can do it. And, listen to his music, because I think, again, that's also, inspirational, because, we do a lot with music. Music tends to relax us. It homes us in. It just really defines who we are a little bit. So, definitely listen to your music. Now tell us, how do we get everything? So if we want to buy your book, we go to?
Well, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes and Noble, you can go to any bookstore can get it for you. If they don't have it, they can certainly order it. You can even go to my website, georgeasantino.com. I mean, everything that is sold on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, I sell directly, but I don't care where you get it, just so you get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But georgeasantino.com, don't forget that A. If you do George Santino, you'll find some perfume company in France that I don't understand. But so don't forget that A, George A. Santino. And that's my handle on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can find all my videos on YouTube, including my retirement speeches that were fun to do. But just do a search on George A. Santino, and you'll find it. You'll find it all.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's so great having you on the show again. I know you've been on my show one time before, and it was really cool. And we had another gentleman on from high school too, and that was fun. So it was really cool. But I just admire you. So you're just a great guy, a stand-up guy, and you have struggled. You've definitely struggled in life, as many out there. And you've been able to, get back up, as your book is well written, and I think will be very inspirational for those. So thank you so much, George.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to do it anytime.
Oh, thank you. It's great. Well, again, his book is Get Back Up, and you can get it, right on his website if you want to go, and you can get all his information, his music, everything. It's georgeasantino.com. So just go there, and he's got everything there for you, and you can get all the music and everything. So I think it's a great place to start with. So thank you again, George. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's always fun to talk to you.
No, this is great. Well, this is Cece with Going Solo, and you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This show will be featured on our Author's Corner, Meet the Author, and I hope that you will check it out and look at all his books and his music and all of that he has to offer. So talk to you later, and we'll see you next time. Bye, George.
Bye.